the money to originally start the climate exchange in Chicago. So he has the same idea. Let's get some more money. And we'll call, hello, Joyce Foundation. Speaking of call me if any of this is wrong. If I get any of it wrong. I mean, we're just doing our best here. We're alone on this story. So we're just doing our best here. If you can clear up anything that White House has the number. They can. Well, I'm sure they'll be sending messages. So here is the Joyce Foundation. He says, let's go to the Joyce Foundation. Okay, let's get money. Who's again the Joyce Foundation? Started the climate exchange, seed money. They also give money to the Tides Foundation. Remember those guys? They're great. Oh, that's George Soros. And they give money to the Center for American Progress. You know where Van Jones is now staying? Isn't that great? That's George Soros too. That is great. Hundreds of millions of dollars, and apparently nothing better to do with it than to ship it to progressive groups. That's great. And wait until you see them take their top off. So, Franklin Raines asks Enterprise to ask the Joyce Foundation for some cash. What was the pitch? I mean, I'm just guessing, but hey guys, we got an idea. We want to start another progressive group. Well, before you know it, they have hundreds of millions of dollars being stuffed dollar by dollar into their G-strings. Joyce agrees, and the Emerald Cities Collaborative is born through the Livable Cities Initiative. Oh, Livable Cities Initiative. This is going to get good, isn't it? Here's the great part. Emerald Cities. Who are Emerald Cities? Show me the board of directors. Now, they consider themselves a startup, a national coalition of diverse groups that include, wait for it, unions, labor groups, community organizations, social justice activists, socially responsible businesses, and elected officials. Oh, it's great. It's like an episode of Growing Up Gaudy. This is fantastic, isn't it? Their mission? To be united around the goal of rapidly greening our nation's central cities and their surrounding metropolitan regions. They're practically Mother Teresa at a strip club. It's fantastic. Now, I know this is complicated, but that's how progressives like it. Because then the media doesn't bother to investigate because they're like, nobody's smart enough to be able to follow it. But with Obama's help, the Joyce Foundation has given $1.1 million to help start the Chicago Climate Exchange. Al Gore, Goldman Sachs, and Fannie and Freddie invest heavily. Fannie Mae buys a patent for something to do nothing with housing. It's great. No one says a word. Joyce then gives Enterprise cash to start this group. Who's on the board of directors? Jerry Hudson. He's great. He's great. He's great. He's from SEIU. Emerald Cities, man. You remember watching that movie with the Emerald City and you thought flying monkeys would stand out in the Emerald City. Yeah. There's no talking lions or flying monkeys or Tin Man. Nope. But all those guys are going to seem sane after I introduce you to Jerry Hudson. Yeah, he's part of the horses of a different color. Yeah. See if any of these guys sound familiar. We have Jerry. We have Phaedra Ellis Lampkins. She is for Green for All. Who's Green for All? Van Jones. Then we have Jack Hyen. Love him, AFL-CIO. Art Lujan, AFL-CIO. Wait a minute, isn't the AFL-CIO, who's the president? What's his name? Tiffany, what's his name? Richard Trumka. Didn't I just see him give a speech just recently that say he's going to pull out all the stops to stop me? Richard, I'm beginning to see why. Yes, I am. And then there's Doris Koo. Doris Koo's not up here, but she's part of Enterprise Community Partners. Again, I'd like to remind everybody in the viewing audience, I'm not suicidal. I don't think I can fly off tops of buildings. I don't want to swim in the East River. Something happens. So, what do we have here? We have SEIU. We have Van Jones. We have the AFL-CIO. We have Acorn. We have Goldman Sachs. Wow! I am glad we're having hearings on Capitol Hill this week on Goldman Sachs and not talking about any of this, huh? This is so weird. It's almost like it's all the same progressive people that are corrupt and we keep seeing every day in the news, making nightmares. Isn't that weird? But the Emerald Cities implies that there must be a wizard. Grab your basket. Come on, Toto. We're off to see the wizard next. They're all tied directly to the White House. But we're just talking about cap and trade and the Chicago Carbon Exchange. Who's the wizard? Because we have the Emerald Cities Collaborative with all of these people on the board. Your money is going to be funneled here. Who's the wizard? Well, here's the wizard. This guy. You probably don't know him. You should. Wildly powerful man. Joel Rogers. He has a group called Cows. Well, that sounds nice. I like cows. Yeah, not these cows. No, no, no. He was instrumental in starting up Emerald Cities. He also founded the New Party. What's the New Party? Oh, a fair economy, a real democracy, a new party. Do you remember the New Party? Chicago. They claimed that Barack Obama was their candidate. Barack Obama has said, no, 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 not me. Socialists. They've endorsed his campaign. It's alleged that he sought their endorsement, but now all the stories are changed. But again, you know, he also didn't remember anything his pastor said for 20 years, so you be the judge of that. The New Party. There it is, the endorsed candidate, Barack Obama. Okay. Now, here he is. They've got, you know, the University of Madison, Wisconsin. If you have kids there, you'll be happy to know, and you probably already know, that he is a professor here. Joel Rogers. I'm going to call him JR. He's a professor there. And, he's also the guy who started the Apollo Alliance. The Apollo Alliance. That sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Apollo Alliance is one that wrote the stimulus bill that now, 70% of all economists said had no effect on the economy? Who was on the board of directors of the Apollo Alliance? Van Jones. It's one big happy family. It's one big happy crime family. That's what it's beginning to look like. It's good to know who's running the country, isn't it? Oh, let me bring in our crazy uncle. Crazy Uncle Andy Stern, who's just disappeared for some reason. We've all known to come and love Andy Stern, haven't we? Here's what Andy Stern says about this man, the wizard. Nobody outside the American labor movement has shaped our present thinking as profoundly. Andy Stern says he's the wizard. Sounds important. A socialist is shaping our president's thinking. But if that's not enough for you, maybe this soundbite will help, because it's always what they say, not what I say, that matters, it seems. Here is Van Jones, what he said while he was still at the White House.
I also want to take a little bit of time before I get to my comments to brag a little bit on Joel Rogers. If I were Joel Rogers, I would be insufferably proud. I wouldn't be able to walk around. My head would be huge. The best thinking that he represents, is represented here, is now reflected in the White House.
Got it? He's the man. He is the wizard. He's a wizard. By the way, that was said in January '09. Emerald City was created way back in December of '09. It's nice to know that the thinking of this man is now in the White House. That's from Van Jones, who I thought was just a low-level staffer. I mean, what, is the guy who vacuums the Oval Office thinking like Joel Rogers now, or? That's what this all boils down to. These formerly harmless progressive radicals now have a direct pipeline to the President of the United States, who has a direct pipeline to your wallet.